All right, here we are. How's it going, everyone? My name is Paul. Welcome to the very first Come Touch a Fantasy Live. This is a Monday weekly live show of me talking about the books that I'm reading, talking about the books that have come out, talking about the books I want to read, just everything about books, and then everything about other things that I enjoy doing, like short stories, podcasts, comics, movies, television, documentaries. I'm really looking forward to this new step with my channel. Putting out live content is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and I'm just going to do it. There will definitely be a lot of bumps in the road, but as I progress, get better at it, and create a better live content, a better, more entertaining stream, it should be good. If you're in the chat, say hello. If you are watching this on the VOD, leave a comment in the comments and let me know what you guys are reading. Let me know what you guys think about the books that I'm reading. Let me know what your favorite read was last week, what you're reading this week. Just let me know what's going on with you and your life, because I'm interested for sure. All right, let's start right out with reviews. I finished only one book last week, and that was Ancillary Mercy by Ann Leckie. First thing I want to say is that this entire series has been a treat to read. Not only are they just absolutely beautiful books, they're probably my favorite books in my library as far as aesthetically. I just love the covers. I love the way they look with the spines. It's just a very different series that I really didn't think was going to be the way it was. When you look at the covers, you see a lot of spaceships. You see maybe like an 8-bit spaceship type thing. And I was expecting a little bit more space opera. But what I got instead was a very focused story about a woman named Breck and her story of how she is trying to get revenge on the person that hurt them. Oh, I got a tweet. Oh, just someone liking my thing. If there's any issues with the stream, let me know in the chat, please. Or message me on Twitter. Anyways, Ancillary Mercy, the third book in this series, wraps up this series in a way that at times I'm happy with, but other times I'm not. Where this story really shines is the connections between all the characters, between Breck, between Syverton, between Station, between Mercy of Kalar, all the different AIs in this story that were introduced in Ancillary Sword. In Ancillary Mercy, we get much more focus on their personalities, their relationships, and how they feel about each other. Hello, I think it's Rachel? The Shades of Orange? Rachel? Is that right? Thanks for joining. Anyways, in this, they basically are trying to save this station, Atwax Station, because there's a lot of bad people wanting to control it, wanting to control all the different people that live at the station, and really put people under dominion. And the main person is this bad guy named... I listened to this in an audiobook, so I should be able to say it. Animander Manatni, or something like that. I failed. Well, anyways, it was a good book, but I still feel like I've only scratched the surface of this entire world that Ann Leckie has created. I love the personalities, I love the relationships between everybody else, but I never really completely bought into the idea that Breck, one lone person, could really do a whole lot against this huge empire, this Radich, and the individual that has multiple clones of herself or multiple instances of herself that are finally like fighting against each other. I never really believed that Brett could succeed. And it's kind of weird because like I want to love Brett. I want to love these books so much, but I feel like they're just really safe. And I feel like that the person that they're against is so powerful that she could have just wiped them out at any time that she wanted to. And I didn't really buy into it all. I love the conversations. It's pretty much a have tea, talk about things type of story. Bunch of people sitting around eyeing each other, trying to figure out what side they're on, trying to figure out if they're good people or bad people. And that's really interesting to me and something that a lot of people really like. I love the AI. I love the idea of the AI becoming sentient. I love the idea of the relationships between the different AIs. But the whole world just needs to be better. Just needs to be more fleshed out. Hi, Caitlin. Nice for you to join. Caitlin is currently reading a book called A Promise of Fire. It's kind of iffy so far. It's entertaining, but it's got problems with consent of characters. Oh. That's not good. Alright, so moving on. That's the only book I finished this week. I listened to the audiobook and I also read it as well, so I dual-wield it. I like to call that dual-wielding. I'm definitely going to read the ancillary books again because I think I missed a lot. I definitely recommend, if you're going to read these, to read Sword and Mercy together, because a lot of the things that happen in Sword carries over to Mercy, and it's very important that you remember all the people from Sword in Mercy. If not, it's going to take you half the book to remember all the characters again. Alright, moving on. We have currently reading. I am currently reading still The Crippled God by Steven Erikson. I am about 300 pages away from finishing it. I really wanted to finish this before the new year, but you know, things happen. You have to spend time with family, you have to do other things, so not a big deal. I am enjoying this quite a bit. I'm enjoying this much more than Dust of Dreams. It is still slower than a snail's pace, but there is a focus to it now in the second half of this book that I'm really enjoying, and I'm having a lot of fun reading. So, basically, if you've never heard about the Malazan series, or you've never known about Steven Erikson and his work, he basically is trying to create this world that's really intricate, where anything can happen, where there's no beginning or stopping points. So he's basically trying to emulate our real world. And what's interesting about this is, in most big epic fantasy series, we have a beginning where we meet the characters and an end where we kill the big bad, basically. And Erikson takes a very different approach. He says there are big bads for everyone. There are issues for everybody. And when a major issue ends, more issues begin. And it just keeps going like that. And we follow, basically follow a group of Marines that are in this large company of Marines. I don't know much about military talk. And so it's basically about them, and you come to love everybody. Oh, hello, Giselle. Yeah, Giselle did not like A Promise of Fire either. She thought it was creepy as well. Yeah. Hi, James. Yeah, what are you guys reading? I would like to know. I'm also currently reading, and I just started my reread of the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I'm also dual-wielding this one. physical book and audiobook. Because I am out and about walking more, I listen to a lot of audiobooks now. And I listened to maybe the first 3 chapters today, and the reread is so much better than the original read. Because I know where everything was, or where everything's going, I can now appreciate the small things at the beginning. And I'm so happy that I'm rereading this, because I want to read The Obelisk Gate later this week, maybe beginning of next week, and be caught up with this series. These are beautiful books as well. Orbit, you are probably my favorite publisher right now. They're putting out beautiful books. Saga Press really stepped it up in 2016 though. Saga Press, you gotta watch out for them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the 5th season again and getting all the small things I missed the first time. And continuing with the series. Oh, I forgot to put the thing up. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Book hype. Let's hype some books. All right. Well, we're going to hype one book tonight. And this book is The 100 Nights of Hero by Isabel Greenberg. This just seems delightful. It just seems fantastic. Look at this little cover. Look how cute that is. Awesome. And this is by Isabella Greenberg. And this is a sequential art graphic novel book, and it was released by Little Brown Company back in December 6th. It is a hardcover, and it is 224 pages. And Mercedes, one of my favorite booktubers, just gave it a 5-star rating, so it has to be good, considering she doesn't give a whole lot of things 5 stars. So let's read the description here. The tradition of Arabian Nights, a beautiful illustrated tapestry of folk tales and myths with the secret legacy of female storytellers in an imagined medieval world. In the empire of Midgall Bevel, Cherry is married to Jerome, a wicked man who makes a diabolical wager with his friend Manfred. If Manfred can seduce Cherry in 100 nights, he can save his castle and Cherry. But what Jerome doesn't know is that Cherry is in love with her maid, Hero. The two women hatch a plan. Hero, a member of the League of Secret Storytellers, will distract Manfred by regaling him with a mesmerizing tale each night for 100 nights, keeping him at bay. Those tales are beautifully depicted here, touching on themes of love and betrayal and loyalty and madness. The intricate and richly imagined as the works of Chris Ware and weaving with dry wit that rivals Kate Batten's, I don't know those people, in Hark and Vagrant. Isabel Greenberg's 100 Nights of Hero will capture readers' hearts and minds, taking them through a medieval magical world. Right now it has a 4.59 rating with 245 ratings. That's pretty good. Caitlin in chat said Isabel Greenberg's last book she absolutely adored and really loved, and she's looking forward to checking this out. Giselle is currently reading Rose Daughter by Robin McKinley, and she's really liking it. Alright, that's my book hype for the week. Moving on. Borrowed. Let's check out the old... Alright. At the library, I currently have 2 things on hold. I have Lock and Key Volume 1. They'll never send this to me. The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I want to read this so much. People are talking about the Underground Railroad so much. I think it's going to win a lot of awards. I think it's on best of everyone's list. And I think it's just a fantastic sounding book. It's basically a slavery type piece, and there's an actual railroad under the ground where they take slaves to other states, which is really cool. So yeah, Underground Railroad. Oh, it just logged me out. Wow. Well, I don't want to log into my account online, so I better not log into it. Anyways, I also have borrowed from the library. I still have the Wonderstruck by Brian Selznick, and I still have The Girl That Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, which is this one right here. I've read maybe 50 pages in this, and it's very not that great. So I might DNF that one, but I think it's great for kids. Okay. Let's see, moving on. James is reading Jonathan Strange, and he absolutely loves it. Yeah, I don't have no fines. I'm all about, I don't want to spend no 10 cents a day on books. Alright. Borrowed, hyped, bought. I did not buy any books this last week, even though it was after Christmas. Vision Volume 2 is not in online at barnesandnoble.com. Once that is in, I'm going to do the Marvel DC buy 2, get 1 free comic book thing. Alright. Short story. My favorite short story of the week. Alright, here we go. My favorite short story of the week was Under One Roof by Sarah Pinsker. This is from Uncanny September, October. This is issue number 12. So this was a couple months ago. Under One Roof basically is about this married couple that moves into a new townhouse, but the attic is locked. And they hear things in the attic, so it has this like creepy feel. But the focus of the entire short story is on the relationship between the two married people and their issues within their relationship. And what they find in the attic really brings to light the differences that they have in their marriage. And I find that aspect of the short story very interesting, and that is why it was my favorite short story of the week. Sarah Pinsker, Under One Roof. All right. Podcast. My favorite podcast I've recently listened to is episode 294 of The Functional Nerds. I love The Functional Nerds. The Functional Nerds are Patrick Hester and John Anelia. And they're doing a big crossover event with the Three Horsemen, which is HOARS men, which I find hilarious. And those people are Fred Keish, Jeff Patterson, and John Stevens. A lot of these guys were from SF Signal before it closed down, and they're doing their own podcast type thing now. And they basically talk about their favorite things of the year. They talk about board games. They talk about nonfiction things. They talk about a bunch of stuff. John Anelia, one of the Functional Nerds guy, he loved Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So James, he loved that. Zero World by Jason Ho. I definitely want to read Zero World because it just sounds like a ton of fun. And Patrick, Babylon's Ashes, the Miles Verkosigan saga. And it's just a very great podcast. You can find this on your podcast program on your phone. I love the Functional Nerds, and I like the Three Horsemen as well. And this is a crossover event. It's about 2 hours long, and I definitely think it's great. All right, moving on. What do we have next? Podcast, comics. Okay. My favorite comic of the week I just finished, and that was Scott Snyder's and Jeff Lemire's After Death book number 2. And this is a very confusing comic story. Basically, they found the cure for aging, and now we have people living a an immortal life. And what's interesting about it is that even though they can live thousands of years now, they can only remember things from a lifetime's worth of memories. So even if 1,000 years ago they were in love with the most amazing person, they can't remember that because they can only remember about 90 years worth of memories. And it's just a very interesting idea. And so we have the backstory of our main character in this. And he is a thief, and he likes to steal things. And in this story, we find out that he steals the formula for the anti-aging. And there's just a lot of interesting bits in this book. What's very cool about it is you get these type of pages that has a lot of text. It's basically heavy prose. But then you get typical comic book panels like this. And Jeff Lemire just outdoes himself with a lot of these panels. And you get these amazing splash pages like this. And Jeff Lemire's art is just as good as his writing, in my opinion. Like, this is a picture of an orchestra hall. It's really cool. So, it's very cool. It's very prose heavy because, you know, you have all these type of things. But then you just have these amazing pictures and amazing panels. It's just a lot of fun. And I really enjoy it. It's very heady. It's very deep. And it's not told in chronological order. You have to kind of figure things out and put things in pieces together. And it's pretty cool. Has anyone read any comics lately that they really loved? Like any graphic novels? Any trades that they really liked? Alright, here we go. Moving on to the movies. And I watched Kubo and the Two Strings. Kubo was my Friday night movie pick, and I loved it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It was just so much fun. It's beautiful. It is stop motion animation, so they're using like these little clay figures, or I don't know what they're really made of, but they used to be clay. And they're moving it for each frame. And the backgrounds is a mixture between 3D art and the stop motion and the models and things like that. And it's just so beautiful. I absolutely loved the story too. At times, it was a little simplistic. And at the end, the thematic elements were kind of murky. Especially the chat between the dragon and the young boy. I thought it was a little bit over the head for a young audience. And they threw out like 10 different themes in the last 15 minutes. And it got kind of swallowed up in that. But the entire movie was just a lot of fun. I really recommend it. It's just a beautiful movie. Get it on Blu-ray. Get it on HD. It was just a fantastic movie, and I really enjoyed it. Oh, you're reading that Armory Wars series from Kohi? That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm so happy that you loved Descender Volume 3, Caitlin. I was very worried that you wouldn't really care for it that much, but having all that backstory with the characters was a great way to fill in the world and make you really connect to these characters. Moving forward, I really hope that they move forward the story again, but I really did like I liked some of the issues from Volume 3, but not all of them. And Lumberjanes Volume 5. Wow, they're up to Volume 5 now. That's cool. All right, what's next? TV. What did Paul watch on TV? Paul watched The Fall, season 3. Oh, what? I love. If anyone knows me and follows me on Twitter, I love The Fall. It is the most disturbing psychological thriller I've ever watched. It follows the uh, the serial killer, and it also follows the people that are trying to catch him. And I don't want to spoil the third season, but it's without a doubt one of the most disturbing shows, but it is one of the most thought-provoking shows. And why that is because of the way it is filmed. They have these lingering shots of the actors, and they're saying their lines, and the camera actually stays on the actors for a few seconds longer than any other show that I've ever seen or movie. And it makes you try to think what that character in that story is really trying to think, trying to get in their head. And what I found very interesting about this show was a lot of the ideas and prejudices that you might have about the story, about the people in the story. It brings those to light, just because they don't tell you how to think about the characters. You have to figure out how you feel about the characters. You have to figure out how you feel about this horrible individual that's doing these awful things. And at times, because the story itself is not telling you how awful this person is, and it's leaving you up to figure it out yourself, it can be extremely disturbing at times. And it's weird because you find yourself actually liking the bad guy at times, but then you have to be reminded he is the worst possible person in the world. It's dark, it's intimidating, it's provocative. Some people are complaining about this show that it's misogynist in nature, but I don't believe that whatsoever. I think that Gillian Anderson is the star of the show. She is the strongest woman in any show I've ever seen, any book I've ever read. Gillian Anderson in this show is amazing. Her character is... I'm basically in love with her character, to be honest. But she is just such a great character. And because her adversary tries to go against her, I think people are upset about that, and there's some things that happen. But I think it's because we come into the show with our own baggage, and we have to deal with our own baggage while watching this show. It's really good. Caitlin, see ya. Good luck with your new show. That's awesome. Or your new job. I'm sorry. I read show and I meant job. Good luck. I hope you do amazing. But of course you will, because you're amazing yourself. Alright, moving on. I talked enough about The Fall. Okay. Sherlock, Season 4, Episode 1. I watched it last night. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. Mixed feelings, though. I never really... I'm not going to spoil anything. If you haven't watched the show at all, maybe a slight spoiler, but I never really believed that John's wife was who she ends up being in this show. I was never on board with that. I just never really thought that was a great way to take the show. And so I was a bit iffy about this episode, but it was still fantastic. I still had a lot of fun watching it, and it's just a great show and a great time. I would like to be able to figure stuff out a little bit more with the show instead of Sherlock telling us everything. So, but I kind of figured out the the bad person at the end. Oh yeah, Benefit Lumberjack. Yeah, Cumberbatch is awesome. He's such a cool guy. All right, what do we got left here? Oh, documentary. Here we go. Let's talk about the documentary I watched on Saturday night for Docu-Saturday. I'm watching a documentary every Saturday night to kind of fill in the fact that I'm not going to be reading a lot of nonfiction in this year. This was, oh my, this was amazing. 10 out of 10. Best documentary probably I've ever seen. It explains everything about what is going on in our world. It's called The Mask You Live In. It's about the masculinity crisis in America and how it's impacting our world and our culture and our society. And I really think everyone should watch this. It was amazing. Basically, masculinity is narrowed to a point where we look at it as aggression, as violence, and these young men are not being taught that they can feel, they can be sensitive, they can like music, they can like acting, they can like things that aren't necessarily what they're told to like from media, from people at home, people around them. And what's happening is it's the ultra masculinity of our society that's really hurting us because first off, the men are taught at a very young age that women are less than men because, you know, they always say, you know, man up, don't be like a girl, stop crying. You know, men just learn to hide their emotions. And if people are telling you all the time not to be a girl, you're automatically just thinking that girls are a lesser gender than you. And it just makes so many issues going forward in life. And in this documentary, they interview a bunch of convicts, they interview a bunch of young boys in school, people that just graduated from school, people in college and things like that. It talks about the rape culture and things of that nature. And it's really just an amazing documentary that I think everyone should watch. It was very good. Made me realize why I didn't have many other male friends growing up, because I always thought all that stuff was stupid. Like, I'm not a bro guy, and the idea of violence and things like that, I don't want to be that person. So a great documentary that I highly recommend. It was on Netflix. It's called The Mask You Live In. All right, on to the last thing. Thanks for everyone that stayed with me for this long. My favorite Booktube video of the week. And for this week, I'm going with Bree from Stories from the Shelf. Bree is an amazing, genuine booktuber that absolutely loves science fiction and fantasy. If you are not subscribed to her, please check her out. Stories from the Shelf is her tag, and she does her most anticipated releases of 2017, and it's just a great video because she's very raw at the beginning, talking about 2016, and she really expresses herself in a way that you can feel the emotion. And then later when she's talking about the books, you can definitely tell that she is really looking forward to the books that she's looking forward to, and she's looking forward to reading a lot of the sequels of books that she read in 2016 or 2015. And it's just a very great video that I definitely recommend to everybody. Bree from Stories from the Shelf, my favorite Booktube vid of the week. Her most anticipated books of 2017. And that is it for tonight. I thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining the chat room, guys. I really appreciate it. If you watched the VOD, put in the comments what you've been reading, and I really appreciate it. Next week, maybe I won't be as long, and I'll be more fluent with what I'm talking about. It's a little bit difficult. I have to figure out how to do the live thing and also answer questions and look at stuff as well, because it is distracting at times. But it's just the start of something new, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time on Booktube, and I'm going to go with it, even if I'm not getting a lot of views or things like that. I'm really just going to go for it. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. I hope you enjoy the books you're reading this week. Take care, and I'll talk to you next week.